In today's video, we will talk about the third movie in James Cameron's Avatar franchise, titled Avatar: Fire. The story of the Avatar movies is not set in the present time, but far into the future, many years from now. And it all begins with Avatar 1. In Avatar 1, we see a future version of Earth, one that is more than 100 years ahead of our current world. No matter how advanced technology becomes, natural resources are always limited. And since the world's population had increased at an extremely rapid rate by that time, Earth's resources slowly began to run out. Humans at that time could have wiped out half of the population in an instant if they wanted to, but they didn't do that. Instead, they began searching for a planet with an environment similar to Earth, where humans could live and make use of natural resources. Humans discovered another solar system far away in the universe, but after research, they realized that the planet itself was not suitable for habitation. However, that planet had a moon called Pandora. The environment of Pandora was very similar to Earth's, and it was also rich in natural resources. Humans arrived on Pandora and began their research. Pandora was home to many different alien species, the most special of which were the Na'vi. They looked very similar to humans from Earth, and were also intelligent. But as humans gradually expanded their research on Pandora, they realized that surviving directly on Pandora was not easy for humans at all. So humans came up with a new solution. Scientists combined human DNA with Na'vi DNA to create a hybrid body. This hybrid body is known as an avatar. An avatar was created for a scientist named Dr. Tom Sully. However, before reaching Pandora, Tom Sully was killed by a robber. Since a huge amount of money had been spent to create Tom Sully's avatar body, the company didn't want it to go to waste. For that reason, they offered Tom Sully's twin brother, Jake Sully, the chance to use the avatar body. Jake Sully was not a scientist. He was a soldier. Many years earlier, he had lost the use of his legs in a war. He accepted the offer. Jake Sully then arrives on Pandora and begins using his avatar body. During this time, he meets a Na'vi woman named Neytiri, and the two eventually fall in love. Neytiri introduces Jake Sully to her people and teaches him everything about their way of life. Gradually, Jake himself becomes almost like a Na'vi. Through research, it is discovered that a highly valuable mineral exists in the area where Neytiri and her Na'vi clan lived. This mineral is called unobtainium. In reality, Colonel Quaritch had secretly sent Jake Sully on this mission so that he could remove the Na'vi from that land and seize control of the unobtainium. However, they failed to drive the Na'vi away from their homeland. Jake Sully eventually confesses that his true purpose was to force them off that land and take control of the valuable resources there. After learning the truth, the Na'vi exile Jake Sully. Meanwhile, Colonel Quaritch prepares his entire military force and declares war on the Na'vi. To regain the Na'vi's trust, Jake Sully tames a massive and extremely dangerous creature known as a great dragon. Not everyone is capable of controlling it. The one who can control Toruk is believed by the Na'vi to be their savior. Jake Sully succeeds in controlling Toruk. The Na'vi accept him once again and recognize him as their leader. Jake Sully then leads the Na'vi into war against the humans. In this battle, the Na'vi not only emerge victorious, but Colonel Miles Quaritch is also killed. After this, the humans are sent back to Earth. Only those who sided with the Na'vi are allowed to remain on Pandora. Jake Sully becomes fully Na'vi. He marries Neytiri, and together they have several children. This is where the story of Avatar 2 begins. Jake Sully is now the leader of his entire Na'vi clan. He has 3 children, 2 sons and 1 daughter. In addition, there is a Na'vi daughter who was born from the avatar of Dr. Grace Augustine. They also have a human child with them named Spider. Spider is actually the son of Colonel Miles Quaritch. However, when the humans were being sent back to Earth, Spider was too young to be sent on space travel. As a result, Jake Sully and Neytiri adopt him and raise him as their own. In this way, Jake Sully and his family continue living on Pandora. But humans return once again, this time with far more soldiers and massive preparations. Their plan is far more dangerous and carefully orchestrated than before. The humans' plan was to completely wipe out all the Na'vi. They created an avatar for Colonel Miles Quaritch, in which all of Quaritch's memories and personality were preserved. Thus, Colonel Miles Quaritch returns once again, this time in avatar form. Meanwhile, Jake Sully realizes that the humans have arrived with massive amounts of weapons and ammunition and could easily destroy the Na'vi, so he plans ahead and raids a train loaded with ammunition. Jake Sully also knows that Colonel Quaritch is specifically targeting him and his wife, Neytiri. According to his plan, Jake takes his family and moves far away to a distant region of Pandora. After reaching that place, they encounter a different Na'vi clan, one that is far more skilled in water than on land. This clan accepts Jake Sully and his family and begins teaching them their way of life and combat techniques. However, Colonel Quaritch once again manages to track down Jake Sully's location and immediately launches an attack on the area. As a result, another brutal war breaks out between the Na'vi and the humans. The situation becomes very dire for the Na'vi during this battle, and Jake Sully's eldest son is killed. In the end, however, the Na'vi emerge victorious. This is where the third part of Avatar begins. Avatar: Fire. At the very beginning of the movie, we see Jake Sully and his family deeply grieving the death of Neteyam. Jake Sully begins preparing for the next war that he knows is coming. He starts training the water-dwelling Na'vi to use modern weapons. However, the leader of the Water Na'vi clan makes it clear that they will fight only with their traditional weapons. After that, Jake Sully gives weapons to his wife, Neytiri, and asks her to use them. She also makes it clear that she will fight using her traditional weapons. That very night, while Spider is underwater with the others, his oxygen supply runs out. Unable to breathe, Spider begins to struggle. Seeing this, everyone quickly puts an oxygen mask on him, which saves his life. Jake Sully realizes that they won't be able to keep Spider safe for long in this way. He begins discussing the situation with the leaders of the Na'vi clans. Jake Sully asks the leader to take the child named Spider away from there and deliver him to the humans. The leader tells Jake that they are willing to take the child, but in return, they need help. Jake Sully immediately agrees and says that he, along with his entire family, will stand by them and protect them from the Ashclan. After that, everyone begins their journey through the sky. After some time, the Ashclan launches an attack. During this attack, Jake Sully, Neytiri, and their children fight alongside Varang and her people, but the Ashclan warriors are extremely powerful and far greater in number. They knock Neytiri and the children down. Not only that, they mercilessly begin killing the humans riding the dragons. Neytiri is critically injured. At the same time, Jake and Neytiri's children get separated from one another. Jake Sully then begins searching for everyone. Meanwhile, Colonel Miles Quaritch also learns where Jake Sully and his wife are. He sets out with one of his companions to find Jake Sully. At that moment, Colonel Miles manages to capture Jake and takes him prisoner. Jake tells the colonel that he is also searching for his son, Spider, and that the oxygen in Spider's mask is almost depleted. If a new mask is not provided quickly, Spider could die. Hearing about his son, the colonel's heart softens. After that, they all begin searching for the children together. Meanwhile, the children take shelter in a safe place deep inside the forest. But shortly after reaching there, the oxygen in Spider's mask completely runs out, and he begins struggling to breathe. With no other option left, they begin a spiritual ritual and pray to Ewa for help. Suddenly, countless nerve-like roots emerge from the ground and connect to Spider's face and body. He begins breathing in the open air. Seeing Spider recover, the other children are filled with joy. But at that exact moment, Varang and her companions find them and capture everyone. Just then, Colonel Miles and Jake Sully arrive at the scene and launch an attack on the Ashclan. With the help of modern weapons, Jake and the colonel initially gain the upper hand. However, in the very next moment, we see Varang connect her neural braid, Q, with the colonel's braid. Through this connection, she begins controlling him. From that point on, Colonel Quaritch starts obeying every command given by Varang. After that, Varang tells the colonel to teach her how to use all those weapons. The colonel trains her in operating every weapon. Once she learns how to use them, she takes away all the weapons from the colonel's and Jake's group. Then, they capture Jake Sully and all his children and begin preparing to sacrifice them. At that moment, Kiri seizes the opportunity and connects her neural braid, Q, to the ground. She begins controlling the surrounding trees, plants, and leaves, launching an attack on the Ashclan. Taking advantage of the chaos, Jake and his children somehow free themselves and escape. When Varang learns about this, she becomes furious and once again sets out to hunt them down. Meanwhile, Neytiri's dragon finds her and takes her to the people she was with earlier. They treat Neytiri and help her recover. Neytiri tells her mother that her children are missing. Upon hearing this, the members of that clan also set out to search for Neytiri's children. The next morning, they finally find everyone and bring them back safely. Here, everyone notices something astonishing. Spider is able to breathe in the open air. After learning this truth, the scientists become extremely alarmed. They say that if Spider falls into human hands, humans will figure out how Spider adapted himself to Pandora. Then, they would bring Earth's entire population to Pandora and destroy all of its natural resources. After hearing all this, Neytiri immediately tells Jake that Spider should be killed, because if Spider dies, humans will never be able to replicate this process. Jake Sully says that Spider is also a member of their family, and they cannot kill him under any circumstances. Meanwhile, Colonel Miles is also searching for Spider. His goal is to research Spider's body, but the Colonel fails to find him. The Colonel then goes directly to the Ashclan and meets their leader, Varang. He offers Varang a large number of advanced weapons in exchange for her help. After hearing this, Varang tells the Colonel the story of her past. She says that once, she and her entire clan lived in the forest. A devastating volcanic eruption occurred, burning the entire forest and killing countless people. After that, she decided that she would destroy everything. Following this, an agreement is made between the Colonel and Varang. The Colonel will supply Varang and her clan with weapons, and in return, Varang will help locate Jake Sully and Spider. With Varang's help, the Colonel very quickly learns Jake Sully's location. Jake and his family are staying in the territory of the water-dwelling Na'vi. The Colonel then attacks Jake Sully's base with his soldiers. They set the entire area ablaze from all sides. Seeing this horrifying scene, Jake Sully and his people prepare themselves for war. But Jake Sully stops everyone from fighting, because he knows that Varang and Quaritch have come fully prepared, and if a battle breaks out, everyone will surely be killed. Then Quaritch tells Jake Sully that if he goes with him, he will spare the entire clan. Hearing this, Jake willingly surrenders himself to the Colonel. Before the battle, the Colonel had already found Spider, so Spider is also taken away, where researchers begin conducting experiments on him. Later, the Colonel comes to Jake Sully's cell and tells him that he will be executed the next morning. But Jake Sully is not afraid of the Colonel at all. Spider somehow manages to free himself from his restraints and escapes. Outside, Neytiri also comes up with a plan and decides that she will save Jake Sully. With this goal in mind, she beats up several members of the Ashclan, snatches an important device from them, and directly infiltrates the RDA facility. Once inside, she begins searching for her husband. Spider also learns that Jake is being held in a prison cell. He changes his disguise and goes to rescue Jake as well. Meanwhile, Dr. Yang also decides to free Jake Sully. She uses a bulldozer to break open the prison cell, releasing Jake and restoring his freedom. Elsewhere, Neytiri reaches Varang, holds a knife to her throat, and demands to know where Jake is being held. At that exact moment, Colonel Miles arrives and opens fire on Neytiri, but she escapes and manages to reach Jake. Meanwhile, after being freed from the prison, Jake Sully is talking with Dr. Yang. But at that very moment, the soldiers find Jake and are about to open fire. Seeing this, Spider steps forward, raises both his hands, and surrenders. By putting himself in front, Spider saves Jake Sully's life. However, this enrages the military general, who immediately orders a soldier to fire a missile and kill both Jake and Spider. Just seconds before the missile is launched, Neytiri arrives. She blows up the entire helicopter, saving Jake and Spider. Then Neytiri lifts both Jake and Spider onto the back of a dragon and carries them far away. Jake tells Neytiri, "Wherever we go, wherever we hide, Colonel Quaritch and Varang will find us. That's why, if Pandora is to be saved, the Colonel must die." But Neytiri does not agree with Jake. The night before, it was the Colonel who saved their lives. Still, Jake remains firm in his decision and heads deep into the forest with Spider. In the end, Neytiri finally accepts Spider as her own child, something she had never been able to do before, because Spider was the Colonel's son. Since they have kept Spider with them, the human soldiers will return again, and this time, it will be the biggest war yet. Jake returns to his clan to prepare for this war. He gives orders to spread all the Na'vi clans across Pandora and to remain ready for battle. All the Na'vi clans respond to Jake's call and begin gathering for war. Then the humans launch a full-scale assault, bringing total destruction with them. Their goal is to kill all the Na'vi. The war begins, and seeing this, Jake Sully and the other Na'vi feel hopeful, because they realize that someone is standing with them in this fight. Thus begins this massive final battle. Jake Sully tells Neytiri that they are losing badly. Hearing this, Neytiri becomes deeply worried. At this time, it is revealed that the wife of the Water Na'vi leader is pregnant. Neytiri goes to her side and helps with the delivery. After the child is born, the leader's wife dies. Before dying, she asks Neytiri to accept the baby as her own child. Neytiri agrees and takes the child as her own. Just then, Quaritch and Varang arrive near Neytiri. At that moment, Jake Sully and the soldiers fighting on his side arrive as well. Jake realizes how he can save Neytiri and protect her from the chaos of the battle. After that, the Colonel realizes that the situation has completely slipped out of his control. He orders Captain Nick to kill them and extract the liquid from their bodies. At that exact moment, the power of Mother Iwa awakens within the water. She sends all the creatures of the forest to Kiri. Iwa's power flows through Kiri as well, and she commands them to kill all the audio units. In the next moment, we see all the aquatic creatures destroy the soldiers and slaughter the humans. Then, many more dragons arrive. Together, they kill the soldiers, and the ship begins to sink. At the same time, the Colonel captures Spider, but Jake quickly arrives and saves him. As the ship is destroyed, a strong magnetic field is created, pulling everything toward it. Spider also gets trapped in this field, but the Colonel grabs his hand and saves him. After that, Kiri fires an arrow at the Colonel, but the Colonel deliberately jumps into the magnetic field and loses his life. Whether the Colonel is truly dead or has survived is something we will find out in the upcoming Avatar 4. In the end, the war comes to a complete conclusion, and once again, the Na'vi emerge victorious.